Hello and welcome back to Music Mitra. This is Bindu Nair here. Many people want to know about classical music, but they are not educated about it. So, this is a humble attempt from Music Mitra to introduce the concepts of Indian classical music to the layperson so he or she can come closer to this art form, appreciate it, understand it, enjoy it, and also spread this rich heritage of ours to more and more people, especially to the next gen. So, if you're new to this channel, please make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon. So, as you know, Indian classical music is raga based music, right? Raga based, we say. Now, you can call it rag, you can say raga, you can say ragam. Rag or ragam is the Sanskrit usage. The raga is a more anglicized version of the same term. So, what is a raga? We say we have ragas in our music, right? So, for a beginner, for a layperson, what is a raga, right? Do you understand what this term raga means? We say in film music, oh, this song is based on this raga, or today in the concert, so and so sang this raga. And then, when before I started learning music, for me too, this concept was very vague, very abstract. I did not understand what a person actually means when they talk about raga. I know that this sounds nice, I am enjoying the melody, everything is. Appealing to me, but at the same time, I don't understand it. What is a raga per se? The definition of raga, if you say, as per the text, is that a raga is a systematic arrangement of notes. Notes means, the notes of a music. The alphabets of music is known as notes, right? So, systematic arrangement of notes in an ascending and descending order. That is known as a raga. Technically, theoretically, okay? But a raga is much, much more than an arrangement of swaras. It's not just few swaras going up and few swaras coming down. A raga is an entity by itself. It is a arrangement definitely of swaras. And when I talk with respect to South Indian classical music or Carnatic music, a raga is a very well structured and defined and sanctum. The usages of the swaras are ruled by certain principles. So, like, though two ragas can have the same set of swaras, the usage of those swaras or the order in which those swaras are sung or the adornment or the embellishment or the ornamentation of the swaras can be totally different. Even though the swaras are exactly same, the ragas can sound totally different. So again, this might be a little confusing for a layperson, right? Don't worry. I encourage you to start listening to more of classical music and watch videos like this where you will understand more and more about Indian classical music, which is a must. It's our heritage, right? Imagine as an Indian if we don't know anything about our music. Today, I see so many Westerners taking so much interest to learn our music, to understand more about our music, and they are overwhelmed with the kind of structured, the kind of complex compositions that we have, the complex systems of music that we have both in Hindustani and in Carnatic, the diverse instruments that we have in this subcontinent, not just in classical, even in the folklore. You see, I don't know the amount of instruments, the number of instruments that one can see, musical instruments in India, I'm sure is much, much more than which any other country will have in their traditional music. In classical music itself, imagine a small country like one subcontinent has two huge varied systems of classical music, whereas the entire rest of the world has Western classical. The West has Western classical music, which is just one of course, they can have subgenres to it, but you see the kind of vastness that we have with our thousands and thousands of ragas. That brings me to the topic. When we said ragas, how many ragas are there? I mean, people ask me, how many ragas are there? Theoretically, there are thousands of ragas, and we can even say infinite, it won't be wrong. Why? Because now I'll talk from the Carnatic point of view because I'm a student of Carnatic music. In Carnatic, there are 72 Melakarta ragas. How many? 72. And these are structured ragas in the sense they are all parent ragas or sampurna ragas having all the 7 notes. So for a lay person, I can make you understand like this, that there are 72 different ways of singing Sarigama Padanisa. You would have heard of one Sarigama Padanisa, right? Either in Maya Malagola, if you have learnt music a little, if you have started, beginners always start with Maya Malagola, or generally what you hear even in the Hindustani or the other context, you will hear the major scale, that is Sarigama Padanisa in Shankarabharanam scale. So these two many people would have heard because it has been used in songs, film songs, and other genres of music. They would have used this usage of Sarigama Padanisa. But imagine there are 72 types of Sarigama Padanisa. Using in Carnatic, we use 16 swaras. There are 12 swarasthanas, but we have created 16 swaras from the 12 swarasthanas. And because of these 16 swaras, we can have various permutation and combination. And this is structured, proper, scientifically tabulated into 12 chakras consisting of 6 ragas each. Okay, and that is how we have 72 Melakarta ragas. So the question comes, how many ragas are there? Right? So that is an inevitable question. How many ragas are there in Indian music? So I'm going to talk from Carnatic point of view, I told you. In Carnatic music, I said there are 72 Melakarta ragas. Now, each of these 72 Melakarta ragas can give rise to 483 Janya ragas due to various permutation and combination. Because there are ragas which have 5 swaras, there are ragas which have 6 swaras, there are ragas which have 7 swaras, then there are ragas which have only 5 swaras in the Arohana but 6 swaras in the Avarohana, and vice versa. Same way, they can have 7 swaras in the Arohana, 5 swaras in the Avarohana, or 6 swaras in the Avarohana. So all these permutation combination, if you can account for one Melakarta raga, let's for example say Maya Malagola, is capable of generating 483 Janya ragas. So now you see how many ragas can be there. 72 into 483. Now you do your math. You would have got your answer by now. I'm sure it's in thousands, right? So because there are 8 subvariants that can come for each of the 72 Melakarta ragas, subvariant Janya ragas. We can have ragas that are Sampurva Audava. It can be Audava Sampurna. It can be Sampurna Shadava or Shadava Sampurna. It can be Audava Audava. It can be Shadava Shadava. And like that, when you see Audava Shadava, Shadava Audava, and finally you have Audava Audava. So you have 8 varieties. So if you calculate all these variations, 5, 6, 6, 5, 7, 5, 7 this way, 7 Arohana, 5 Avarohana, 5 Arohana, 7 Avarohana, all these combinations, there are 8 combinations that can happen in a raga scale. So if you take all that into consideration, I told you there are 483 ragas or varieties of Arohanam, Avarohanam that can be created. Not all are in existence, of course, but it is possible to create 483 ragas from each of the Melakarta ragas. So you multiply 483 into 72. So that is theoretically the total number of ragas that can be derived directly from a Melakarta raga, from the 72 Melakarta raga. But this does not account for Bhashanga ragas. Now, what are Bhashanga ragas? In raga system, there is a concept where you can have a raga which is born out of a parent raga, but it is allowed to use swaras which are not there in its parent. We call them foreign note. Those kind of ragas are known as bhashanga ragas. So if you take into account this bhashanga concept, then the number of ragas that are possible are infinite. Now, are there infinite ragas in existence already? That is a different question. But we can say there are still thousands of ragas, and new ragas are being made even now, right? You and me can also create a new raga with all these possibilities into mind. So theoretically, it's infinite, and in usage, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of ragas that are there in Hindustani and Carnatic. So, in practice, I would say still there is 1,000+ ragas that are there. So, one lifetime, I don't think one person can master all these ragas. But we can understand the structure of the raga. There I come to the next point. I spoke about the 72 Melakarta, right? The 72 Melakarta is structured in such a way that a student of music, by knowing what is the number of that raga on that 72 table or the list, we will know what its swarasthanas are because it has been scientifically structured. For example, the first chakra has sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa, which is the Sarigamapa will be constant in the chakra. Full chakra will have all Sarigamapa same. What will change is Dha and Ni within the chakra. So, first raga will have one variant of Dha and Ni, second will have the next variant, third will have the next variant, and so on. There are 6 possible combinations because we have 3 varieties of Vikriti swaras, we call it. That is Ri, Ga, Ma, Dha, Ni. Sa and Pa are constant. I've done a full video on this Vikriti swaras and Prakriti swaras and the swara classification. How the swaras are, like we sing 3 Ris. It's Ri 1, Ri 2, Ri 3. Though there are only 2 places for Ri, there's a small Ri, big Ri, but we add a third Ri taking the one position of ga. We take the small ga and make it into a re. That's why it's called a vivadi swara. It's a controversial note. So we have a re 3 also. Same way we have ga 3. We have only small ga, big ga actually. But we add one more smaller ga taking the place of the bigger re. So we have 3 gas. So if you add all these combinations, the first raga in every chakra will have re. So the first raga in every chakra will have small dha, dha1 with ni1. Then second raga will have dha1 with ni2. Third raga will have dha1 with ni3. So all the combinations with dha1 are over. Then we go to dha2, which is the higher dha. Dha2 can only be paired with ni2 and ni3 because ni1 is same as dha2. It's the same note. So we cannot pair it. So dha2 with ni2, dha2 with ni3. So 4. Then we go to Dha2, Dha3 with Ni3. Sixth one will be Dha3 with Ni3. So you have Dha1, Ni1, Dha1, Ni2, Dha1, Ni3, Dha2, Ni2, Dha2, Ni3, Dha3, Ni3. So this Dhani Sa, Dhani that changes in this manner, changes in all the chakras, all the 12 chakras. So a student can easily define a raga. And what happens to Dha and Ni within the chakra happens to Ri and Ga from chakra to chakra. So the first chakra will have Ri 1 Ga 1, second chakra will have Ri 1 Ga 2, third chakra will have Ri 1 Ga 3, fourth chakra will have Ri 2 Ga 2, fifth chakra will have Ri 2 Ga 3, and the sixth chakra will have Ri 3 and Ga 3. And that way we get 6 chakras in the first half where you tabulate the ragas based on their swaras. And the same thing we transport it to the other side. That means other side means the second group. That is from 37 to 72. You have exactly same, but we use the bigger variant of Ma. That is Ma 2. So first 36 ragas had Shuddha Madhyama Ma 1, and the second 36 ragas have all other notes remaining the same. We have mark 2 for all the other ragas. So this is how the ragas of Indian classical music are. It's a bit complex for a beginner, but don't worry. Stay tuned. We will learn bit by bit. It's like eating an elephant, you cannot directly eat it. What do? We take a small piece every day, and I'm not talking about eating a real elephant. I don't want animal activists to come behind me. What I'm talking about, imagine a cake like an elephant. How will you eat it? You take it bit by bit, right? Same way. This is a huge subject. There is a story. You heard of Tansen, right? The great musician, Mia Tansen. His guru was once asked how much one should learn music to be a musician. And he told his students, okay, tomorrow early morning, come and I will give you the answer. So he took them to a small pond, okay, and then he dipped his finger into that pond, and then he lifted his hand and he said, you see the water in my hand, what is come in my hand, that is the music I know. And this is the music that is there. So you got the context, right? Indian classical music is a vast universe of musical resources, musical wealth, I would say. Musical wealth of India is like the universe out there, and we can only take a little bit, but that little bit itself is it is so rich, it is so uh, soul touching that I wish this upon every person watching this video, to have a face to face interaction with Indian classical music, either as a listener or a learner. And this will definitely add so much of value to your life, and I guarantee you that. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and bye for now.